Exercise 3 is one where you're going to create a squash person. And once you create your squash person, you're going to go out and get a background, and you're going to put that behind at the very bottom so that your squash person is on top. We're also going to link the squash person so that, you know, when you go to move it around, it will move all together instead of being pieces. So to start with this in exercise 1, 2, 3, let me close this. You're going to go and open up the squashperson.psd file. And we're going to name this one, just like all of them. It's going to be last name, first name, and then ex3. It's nice to do it now so you don't forget. And remember, don't get rid of the .psd. Some people have been doing that, and then you end up with files that, you know, the computer doesn't know what they are. All right, now when you look at this file, it has everything you need with the exception of the background picture. And so I'm going to reset my desktop because it's kind of messy. So I'm going to go to Window, Workspace, and I'm going to say Reset Essentials. And let me scoot this little dock over too so we can see it. I'm going to make the dock the double row instead of single row. So as you're looking at your layers, notice you have all the layers for all the various pieces. And they're labeled for you too to make it easier. So bow tie, pear tomato, blueberry, carrot. And then at the very bottom, I've put a copy of all of them again. And I've done that because usually people will delete their shapes by mistake. And so this way, if you delete yours, you'll still have it. You don't have to go back into the handout folder. So what we're going to be doing basically is cutting out all the pieces and then assembling them. And to start out, you know, just grab each one and actually kind of show you guys some good ways to grab different ones. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'll say fit on screen first so it's bigger. And then zoom in a little so it's nice and big. Navigator tool is not a default tool that's open, but it's a nice one. So I would go to Window, Navigator. That's going to pop that here, which lets you drag around and zoom in and zoom out. So she's not here. So starting with each one, you know, there's going to be different strategies for cutting. The ones that have nice pure white backgrounds will be easy to just grab the background and hit delete. Ones like this one that have a shadow, that's going to be a little more challenging. If you try to do quick select with it, and once again, I have to make sure I'm on the right layer, so I am right now. I'm on bow tie. But if you try to quick select, see how it grabs all of that? Because the edges aren't very good. So instead of using quick select on it, I recommend the polygonal lasso tool. And you can feather it. And what you'll do is just kind of grab the edge by zigzagging down and clicking. So, you know, some things you can select really fast, other things require a little more effort. So don't be lazy. And then as you go to do the curves, you have to click a little bit more because this is the tool that likes to do straight lines, right? So I'm going to go click, 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 click to grab all of this until I go all the way around. And it's okay if you cut a little to the inside of the shape. That's better than cutting to the outside because then you'll have background pixels, which will make it look bad. Now, once you have it selected, here's the thing that people normally do that I don't want you to do. The standard is people grab the move tool and then they move their selected pasta. The problem with that is you end up with a bunch of pieces of the background. So instead of doing it that way, we're going to do this. I'm going to put it back by using my Command Z, which is my Edit Undo. And I'm going to go to Select, and I'm going to choose Inverse. And that's going to grab the background and not the pasta. So then I could delete the background. Now the trick here, you have to be on the right layer, because if you're not, you're going to delete one of your other pieces. So I'll inverse, then I'll hit delete in the keyboard, and then I'll deselect. So that's select, deselect, or Command D. And then I'm ready to go to the next thing. The move tool is going to let me click to the right layer easily, right? So now I'm on pear tomato, and this one I think is a pretty good one for quick select. So I'll just quick select that pear tomato, and then I'll do select, inverse, make sure you're on the right layer, delete. And then deselect, Command D, or select deselect. So I'll grab the move tool, I'll click on my next shape. Now this blueberry, the edge is kind of fuzzed out, so what I recommend it doing is using the elliptical marquee tool. So that's this one. I'm going to hold down, choose the elliptical, it's the one under the rectangle. And for this one, I'm going to grab in the middle, and I'm going to hold Option and Shift so that I can make a circle that sizes from the inside out. And I'm just going to make that circle just to the inside of the blueberry, like so. And then I'll do Select, Inverse once again. Shortcut is Shift Command I, if you want to use that, and then delete. Now, if at any point when you hit delete nothing happens, chances are good you're on the wrong layer. So just undo and then go to the right layer. If you have that in your head, you probably won't make the mistake of deleting things. Alright, so carrot next. So I'm going to click to the move tool. I'm going to click the carrot. And now I could once again use the elliptical marquee, or I could use the magic wand. Let's do elliptical just for practice. So I'll grab in the center. I'll hold Option and Shift. And that way I'm making a perfect circle. And I'm going to stop just to the inside of the carrot. I can also use my arrow keys to bounce that selection around a little. And then I'm going to go to Select Inverse, and I'm going to hit delete. So I probably would use the strategy of magic wanding this grapefruit. I'd grab the white and delete it. I'm also going to magic wand this radish. Now one handy thing, the Command key is the shortcut to the arrow tool. And if I Command click, I can select it and grab it, then I can let go and I can easily get to the magic wand. So I'm just going to delete and I'm going to deselect. Okay, so basically you're just going through with this and you're getting all your shapes cut out first. Quick select is always a nice one. Do be sure you're on the right layer. I can tell with this one that I'm not. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to hold the Command key, that's my shortcut for the arrow, and then I'm going to click. Remember, because I have auto select on, it'll let me grab it. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint this mushroom. Making sure I have all of it. I can always click into minus if I need to, if I have too much, or plus if I need to add. And then I'm going to select the inverse, and I'll hit delete, and then I'll deselect, Command D. Kiwi, I think I'll use the same thing. So first I have to use the arrow tool to click, And I'm using my command key. See how that cycles me back and forth between arrow and whatever the last tool I used was? And now I'm going to paint that kiwi. And then I'll select inverse. And I'll hit delete. And then I'll deselect, Command D. And I'll zoom out too, Command 0. I could also use my navigator, or I could go to View and I could choose Fit on Screen. Once you have everything cut, then you're ready to assemble. And you can use pieces more than once. You can make them different sized, bigger or smaller. Please don't warp them. And you can make whatever kind of a squash person you want. So, just start assembling. Option drag is a great way to copy.
We're doing exercise 3. Squash.
And then remember, you can transform or rotate if you want to. And hold shift when you size so you don't warp. And then you can also go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. But, just create your squash guy. You do have to use all the parts. Yeah. And you can always adjust things so that they're behind other things. Now once you have your squash person done, then link the layers. And remember, to do that, you're going to want to click the top one and then shift click the bottom. Now I'm not going to grab the background copy because that's a locked copy. I won't be able to move it if I do that. So I'll just grab, down to the kiwi, that's the lowest thing. And then I'm going to click the link button, and now I've got them all linked together. I can drag them around. You can make a body if you want, arms and legs, whatever you want to do. And then I'm going to go out on the internet and I'm going to search for an interesting background. I'm going to drag it and drop it. So let me actually go and do that. So I'm just searched for ocean. Oops, hold on, wrong one. And I'm going to go to images, and then I might go, I don't really need large images, but I might do a search for medium. And then once I find a picture that I like, I'm going to click into it, and I'll go to view image, and then I'm just going to drag and drop. Now one thing that'll make it easier for you is before you drag and drop, click the background copy, and that way when you drag and drop it in, it's going to pop in right above the background copy. And so you won't have to adjust it. But you could always later go and just drag it down too. If it's too big, slide it over until you get to a corner. And then you can go ahead and size it down. So I'm holding shift and I'm just shrinking this down a bit so that it fits. And let's see, a little bigger. So it's okay if it's a little bigger than it needs to be, obviously. It'll just go, you know, the extra will just go off the edge. Oh, come here, move. So there we go. Now the last thing that I would probably do is I'd kind of look at it and I might adjust color. On mine, since I chose an ocean scene, it's very cool, all those blues. I might adjust my photo filter on these objects. I notice I have some ugly background pixels on my squash. I'm going to fix that. So watch this. Basically, I'm going to go and I'm going to be on that squash layer. I'm going to command click to select the squash, like so. And then I could go in and I could do a refine edge. I think I'm going to do this so it's more simple. I'm just going to go to select and modify, and I'm going to say contract. And I'm going to contract that selection by 2 pixels. Watch what happens. You should see the pixels moving in. See how those moved over? Now I'm going to inverse the selection and I'm going to hit delete. And that's going to get that little row of extra pixels all the way around off of this. So select, inverse, delete, and there you can see it just kind of cut that piece off. So it's just a way to clean it up. So let me go back just to show that again. So here's before I cut it. See that white, jaggedy, ugly background? And then after I cleared it, that's all gone. So if I wanted to modify this guy, I would go in, and unfortunately you got to kind of do it all at once, or you got to do them one at a time. But I might, you know, just go and put a cooling filter on things, just like what we did with the ducks. A light one, don't go crazy. And you know, that's kind of
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
This guy in general, yeah.
something you'd want to do. Notice that those are looking a little bit better as I do that. So without, with, it just makes it look like it might be at the beach. Alright, so when you're done, turn it in, be sure it's named right, last name, first name, EX3.